Right, hi guys. This video, I don't know if you remember, I told you a few weeks back that I was calming down on my pickups because I had a couple of projects in the works. Well, one of them's finished, so I'm going to show you it. Now, what I will say, there's a bit of a story to this first before I show you what it is. So, in case you guys don't know, one of my hobbies is bodybuilding. I've been doing it for a few years now, and since COVID kicked in, obviously I haven't been able to go to the gym. And I say obviously, it's probably not obvious to you guys, but my wife is in what's classed as a high risk category. She has a lung condition called sarcoidosis. And obviously that's really affected if you get COVID. I mean, it could really do you some damage. So when at one point this year she had to go into shielding, and I had to go into shielding with her, which is a story within itself, because basically in a nutshell, she had to shield for 12 weeks, and obviously I had to do the same, because if I was still going to work, that was putting her in danger. And as a result, I ended up taking 7 weeks unpaid because my company refused to furlough me, even though they could have. But that's a separate issue. But basically, I didn't get paid for 7 weeks. As a result, I also couldn't go to the gym because, as we know, gyms are great places to go, but they're also great places for germs. So if you're going to catch something like that, that's probably where you'd get it. So I haven't been in a gym since March. Now, what I should point out here is that since March I've lost quite a bit of weight, and not in a good way. So at one point a few years ago, I did bulk up to around 18 stone. I was quite a lump, but I found it quite uncomfortable. Although it was muscle, I found that I'd literally go up a flight of stairs and I was gasping for air. So I cut some body weight and I cut down to a comfortable 15-10. So I was still quite a good size, but I was more agile, I wasn't out of breath, things like that. So, and that's pretty much where I've sat, 15-10. But since March, I've lost about a stone. So, which, don't get me wrong, it is a little bit devastating, because to put muscle on, you've got to work hard. You do have to work hard. And a lot of blood, sweat and tears have gone into getting myself to this size. So it's quite devastating when you then can't train and you're seeing the muscle just disappear. All that hard work's gone. But at the same time, you know, it would be more devastating to me if I went to the gym, brought COVID home and then killed my wife. So, you know, it's a no-brainer. So what we decided to do was to, because we had an old shed that was practically on its last legs. And I said to the missus, I said, well, what if we put a bigger shed in? I could put my weights in, or buy some weights, have a gym in there. She thought it was quite a good idea, and because of the size of it, I'd also be able to get the kids' bikes in there still and still be able to use it. So that's what I've been doing, and it hasn't come without its problems. So there's been a hell of a lot of problems. So yeah, basically we had an old, I think it was 7x6 shed. Well, now I've got a 10x10 now, so you know, it's 100 square foot. We had to, the floor was already tiled, or yeah, well, tiled I suppose, yeah, would be the best way to put it. It was already tiled for a 6x7, but obviously we needed it bigger. So I've had some help from my wife's, my wife chipped in, even my two boys, because we had Kyle over for a little bit during the summer, he chipped in. So there was a lot of sand, barrowing shall I say, and cement, and putting down new tiles. And obviously they've gone on top of the old ones to reinforce the floor a bit. And the shed we had coming through, we bought a reinforced floor for it, so that it could take the weight. That's another story entirely. So then it was a case of waiting for the shed. Well, we started this, I think, in August. Yeah, August. But we had to wait about a month for the shed because they couldn't get it to us any sooner. Which is typical, because when it turned up, what did we get? Rain, rain, and more rain. It's been a headache. I've been trying to do this with them between work, and they work as well, obviously. And also try and do it when it's not downpouring all day, or at times we've been out in it when it has. So yeah. The tiles went down fine, that was all fine. The problem was the shed. Oh my God, so many issues with this shed. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't massively expensive, but it also wasn't cheap. I mean, it was nearly £800, so it wasn't a cheap shed. But the way it turned up, it was like a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, for example, some of the problems we had, like you look at the manual, and you've got a manual and all the pieces are all numbered in the manual, but the actual pieces aren't numbered. Well, thank you, that's helpful. I mean, what's the point of numbering it in a manual or instructions if you're not going to number the actual pieces so I know which bits they are? Because I'm going to have to figure it out anyway, aren't I? Then we got the issue where none of the holes were drilled, so we had to do all that. There was also problems with the roof, but I'll get to that. Before we get to that, there was bits obviously that were too long, had to be cut down. I mean, when you order a shed, you expect it to be pre-cut, don't you? Not this one, no. There was bits too long all over the place. The extra battens for the flooring were not attached to the bolts. We had to do that. So we attach them, and then find they're too long. You have to cut the ends off. Then you attach like a little batten across the doorway on the inside. Well, the screws for that weren't long enough to actually go through the batten and into the bolt. I mean, screws, basic thing. Screws, how can you not get the screws the right size? The bit that goes across the front of, like basically above the doorway at the front of the roof, that holds, makes the felt look pretty, basically. That was too long. I had to cut that as well. You know, and then here's the biggest doozy of them all. This is the worst one of them all. Was the roof. They'd cut the roof, because the roof basically comes in 5 pieces. You got a single centre support, centre support. That was wonky as hell. We had to clout out with a hammer to get it in line because it was totally crooked. I don't know who put it together. It must have been somebody who was blind. And the boards weren't cut straight. So when we put the 4 boards onto it, it's 2 at the back, 2 at the front, there's a gap down the middle. Yeah, you heard that right. Yeah, they didn't cut the boards long enough. So luckily had some plastic sort of roofing that goes on the top of bird boxes. It's like a thick plastic, and he cut a piece out like that, and we attached it over the hole. So we then felted over the top of that. Now you might wonder, why did you do that? Why didn't you just get in contact with the company? Well, we did. We did get in contact with the company. We complained, and all we got was 30 quid back. 30 quid for all this hassle. Yeah, the windows didn't go in too great. We've had to no more nails them in, and we'll have to silicone around the edge because they're still wobbling around quite a bit. The panels came in 2 different 2 pieces on each side, so that was more work. There's also the fact that none of it was nailed. I mean, when you look at some sheds out, a lot of sheds, most of it is nailed. So where this is all screwed, it took even longer to put together. Oh yeah, I'm sure I'm missing a few things. There were so many issues, and this is what's took so long. I mean, ideally, if you think about it, putting a shed together, some people can put a shed up in a day. I'll tell you, this one, there's no way you would have done that. No way, because nothing went together how it should. It was just complete issues, start to finish. So, since then I've got I ordered my bench a while back because I found one at a reasonable price, and these are Olympic weights. These aren't what you buy from Argos. Like, these are proper weightlifting weights. So I got a bench at a reasonable price. Normally you're looking at between £350 and £500 for an Olympic bench. I got mine from China, so it was substantially cheaper. I've got a 5-foot bar for it. Again, they're not cheap. I mean, I'm trying to think now. I think that was about £70. So, and then I got the weights for it. I managed to find a guy, because there's a few guys on eBay now that are making Olympic weights themselves. I think it's because during the lockdown, sorry, I got a bad throat today. During lockdown, there was issues getting hold of weights because all the gyms shut initially. A lot of people just rushed out and bought weights, which then caused people like me a problem because I wanted some and couldn't find any anywhere. So there was a few people, I think, probably thought, oh, there's a business idea out of this. So there's a few people on eBay that have started cutting their own. Now, I'm guessing they obviously work in some sort of metalworks place, or might even have this equipment themselves. So what they're doing is they're basically making their own plates. Now, when you look at them, I mean, they're thinner than the professional ones, but you can tell the material, the metal they're made out of, is like a denser metal. So yeah, I picked up an 80-kilogram set for probably about half the price you would pay for branded stuff. So and when I go down to the shed, I'll show you all that, because the guy who made this, you know, it's really good stuff, and I'm gonna make sure I get a shot of the company, because he's put his company name on it. So that anyone out there that does weightlift, if you want to get older weights, you know, go to this guy, because it's a reasonable price. It's really good. So yeah, so like I say, the bench turned up ages ago, so it's been sitting in the old shed, and until the new shed was finished, couldn't put it out. And then I realised, I thought, you know what, I really should get some of this like foam flooring like you find in the gyms. And so I ordered that, and again, that was quite cheap. I found I only bought 80 square foot, because I don't need it to cover the whole floor. And I got that off eBay, I think, for about £50, which is really cheap. And all it is like a jigsaw puzzle, you just slot it in. Although it wasn't quite that easy, because this came from China, and they didn't cut it very well. So there was a few places where I had to use scissors to trim some bits off, but not half as annoying as the shed. I can live with that. So got that down and got the bench built. Now, by the time we was putting the bench down, well, the flooring down and building the bench, it was the other night, Thursday night, and it was pitch black. And I literally had this LED lamp in there, and my missus and my son with their lights, their flashes on their phones while I was doing it, because I've had so much I'm so fed up with going out there and working on this that I said to them, no, I don't care if it's dark, I want this done. I am fed up with this now, because I have actually got to this point now where I am absolutely sick to death of that shed, like, which is annoying, because I'm, you know, obviously now I need to use it for my weight. So, but I am sick of it now. Like, I got to a point where it was like, if this thing ain't finished today, I'm probably going to smash it down, because I literally have had enough. I mean, when you look at it, it's took 6 weeks since the shed turned up to get this bloody thing sorted, and I really have had enough. So, anyway, enough of me jabbering. I'm going to show you what I've got down there. So, like I say, I know you guys, you know, you come to this channel to watch nerdy stuff. Well, yes, I am a nerdy geezer, but there are a few things you don't know about me. So, I just thought I'd, you know, tell you a bit about things and show you stuff. So, yeah, like I say, I do like my weightlifting. And you know, the main reason I got into this was because when I was younger, I got fed up being told that I was skinny. And so I decided to do something about it. The other reason was because I've always been a big fan of things like, you know, films like Stallone's films and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And And also, a lot of you might not realise, but I did martial arts for a good majority of my life. Done a little bit of boxing and a little bit of karate, but my main martial art was Wing Chun, which is Kung Fu. So, or style of Kung Fu is the best way to put it. So, when I used to do that, my instructor said to me, like, you know, you need to bulk up a little bit, Lee, and that's what got me into the gym, and then that was it. I used to train here and there when I was a kid. I mean, even from the age of 13. I used to go around to mates, you know, bicep curl, but didn't really know properly what I was doing. And when he said that, he's like, oh, you need to get yourself down the gym, you know, bulk up a bit. So I went to the gym, and I was hooked then, you know, and that was it. I was into the world of bodybuilding. There was these huge guys walking around. It's like, I want to look like that. So yeah, and that's what got me into it. So although I like my nerdy stuff, you know, like my gaming, my movies, my Star Trek, my Star Wars, all this sort of stuff, yeah, I do like all that stuff. But I also like my weightlifting and my martial arts. So I might be an exception to the rule. I mean, when you watch things on the TV, normally, you know, nerdy, geeky people are the ones that are walking around with all their books, very clumsy, glasses with tape in the middle, you know, that sort of look. Obviously, I'm not like that at all. So, but we come in all shapes and sizes, don't we? So, anyway, like I say, enough of me talking. Let's go and show you the shed. Or the gym. Like I said, it's not quite finished. There will be a few finishing touches, but I'll go through that with you while we're down there. Right, see you in a bit. Right, okay guys. So, like I said, I'll show you the shed. This is the outside of it, and it's a lovely day out here, as you can tell. Now, if you look, most of it is painted, but there are little bits that we put on since that haven't been, and that's because we painted a lot of the shed before we put it together, and then had to do the last bits, so I've got to paint them afterwards. So that still needs doing, but as you can see, it's quite a good size. Right, now the weather's terrible, so let's get inside and I'll show you what it looks like. Right, okay, so here we go. So before I show you that, obviously the ladder's still in it, but as you can see, that's the flooring. It slots in, as you can see, it all slots into each other like a jigsaw. So yeah, and it pretty much near enough covers the whole thing. It's not quite central, but it's fine. And obviously this is the bench I got, which I don't think is too bad actually. I mean, I got this from China. It was a good price, real good price, and you know, it looks alright, it looks pretty good. And it is one that inclines as well. You can take a pin out on the bottom foot there at the front, and there's like a little sort of stopper at the bottom, so you can put it into an incline position, so you can do incline bench press. And yeah, and there's the 5-foot bar I was talking about. And then as we go along here, as I said I'd do this, these are the plates. Now if you look, they are thinner, and I'm just going to get the company name, so it's Alpha Fitness, and you know, they're not bad. Like, I'm really happy with them. Like, for the price I got them for, it's really good. And you know, like if I show you, I'd say these ones actually are about the same sort of thickness, but then when you start looking at the larger ones, they're thinner normally than they are. But in saying that, you do use plates at the gym that are normally rubber coated, so they do tend to look thicker anyway. But I mean, yeah, they're a bit thinner. But yeah, Alpha Fitness they are, so if you are looking for plates for a good price, that's somewhere to go. Now, as I was saying, some of this, or most of this shed was an absolute nightmare. So, like I say, if you look here, each panel screws together, and like I say, that was a nightmare within itself. And you can see there's quite a considerable gap between that. Luckily there's a piece of wood that goes over the outside that covers that, so that solves that problem. But if we look at the roof, right along the middle where this centre beam is where the gap is, and if you look here you can actually see where the board don't meet? Look at that gap. And that's covered by that piece of plastic roofing I was telling you about that my father had. Otherwise we'd have rain coming in here right now. So yeah, pretty shoddy work on the company that did this shed. And also, if I show you this, see this support beam that's going across? Yeah, and then another one down below. There's 2 of them on each panel. That did not come with the shed. That's my saying, I'm going to get some wood and put some beams in because your roof's going to bow otherwise. And he's not wrong, because the following day it was bowing. So you wouldn't believe how much weight these supports are holding now. And this is the thing, I mean, I've never built a shed before. So, you know, these are things he knows that I don't know. And yeah, he did a really good job. He put them in, and they are clearly holding the weight, because this panel in particular was bowing like hell, and that was within 24 hours. And now it's not because of the rain, because the felt was on. So, and then this part here, I said to the missus about getting some of the foam that you put around pipes to go on the central support, because I know I'm going to smash my head on that. So yeah, she picked that up and cable tied that on. This cable tie is loose on purpose. That's for my LED to go on, so I can actually see what I'm doing if it's dark down here. But yeah, so like I say, it's not much to look at, but just wanted to show you guys. And I'll do a follow-up, because I'm going to put my own little twist on this place. I'm going to decorate it a bit. So, right, I'm just going to stop this here and then flip it around to me just to get my final thoughts. Oh, got my hand over the lens there. Right, okay, so obviously I'm holding the phone, so I'm sorry, I apologise if it jiggles around a bit. So yeah, what I'm actually going to do, I think, is I'm looking to get some sort of, you know, like those sort of tin signs and that you can get. I'm going to get a few of them, I think, decorate it a little bit, make it look a bit more interesting. And also, if I just flip the camera over, I've got a piece of cardboard here, because obviously where we did the tiles and that, it's a bit muddy out there. And I don't particularly want to walk it in on the flooring in here. So I'm going to get a doormat to go down. I've already looked at one actually that I'll quite like the look of. So I'm going to pick that up as well, I think, put that there, so just so we can brush our feet off. Probably sounds funny because it's a shed, but you know, this isn't just a shed, it's going to be my gym. So yeah, I just want to put some little finishing touches and just make it my own, really. So but yeah, one thing I'm going to say at the end of this video before I wrap it up is that I can't thank my enough, and also my wife and kids, because they've all chipped in. You know, we've all give up time to get this done, and it is really more for my benefit than anybody else's. Obviously the boys are going to have more room to put their bikes, because as I've showed you, there's plenty of room in here, which makes it easier for them getting them in and out. But a good majority of it's for my benefit, obviously, so I can train. So they've give up their own time, and you know, I do really appreciate that. So yeah, so I've got my own gym. I'm happy. I can train again. And this is the thing, a lot of people don't realise this. This is good for your mental well-being. Like, people don't realise that, you know, exercise, weight training, whatever form you use, it is good for your mental health. And I can definitely say that, because you definitely notice the difference when you're not doing it. So yeah, it does make a hell of a lot of difference. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here because it's chucking it down rain. I've got the door open and it's all coming in here. So right, so if you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you're made aware of all our future videos and live streams. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.